Hi. You would agree when I say that podcasts, especially video podcasts, are the new rage in the market. हर इंसान अपनी एक podcast series बना रहा है और वो हर बारी अपने आप को और बेहतर करना चाहते हैं. Well, we have to understand what makes a good podcast. So there are 4 elements. The first is an aesthetic location. Second is good sound. Third is good cameras, and fourth, of course, is lighting. Well, we're here at Podcast Studios by Future Forward and Gorillas, and faces to get those nice soft results. For my fill light, हमने use करा है एक light panel from the top. This is the Godox F400 by. ये एक large light panel है, ये एक soft panel है. It's like a carpet. It folds into a compact bag for easy carriage. But for a studio, it allows me to create that even fill which also acts as a hair light. पीछे अगर आप practical lights देखेंगे तो वहाँ पे एक lamp है और 3 hanging lights है from the roof. यहाँ पे हमने use करे हैं bulbs, the C7R from Godox. ये full RGB bulbs हैं जो Bluetooth से control हो जाते हैं, so that if you put them in some tricky places, you can control those lights using a smart device. ये सारा setup actually में Godox light app से easily control हो जाता है. For our indent and textured lights, हमने नीचे add करे हैं tubes under the table, on the floor to create those nice colored effects, so that we get that, light in the shadow areas of the set. यहाँ पे हमारे पास है ML100 by with a projection lamp modifier. इस projection modifier के थ्रू मैंने क्रिएट करा यहाँ पे एक ऐसा टेक्सचर जो कि मेरे को एक विंडो का इफेक्ट दे रहा है. एंड विद द ML100 by उसके कॉम्पैक्ट डिजाइन की वजह से आई कैन एक्चुअली पुट दिस एनीवेयर आई वांट. अब ये पूरा ओवरऑल सेट अलग अलग लाइट से क्रिएट किया गया है. लेट्स टर्न ऑफ दीज लाइट्स एंड सी व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मूड्स वी कैन क्रिएट. लेट्स टर्न ऑन द प्रैक्टिकल लाइट्स. So for the practical lighting setup, we are using the C7R bulbs from Godox. Now these are full RGB bulbs that can change color to whatever mood and setting you want them to. They can individually be turned on and off. The intensity can be increased or decreased, and of course, you can turn them into warm white or cool lights according to your preferences. Now for the second layer in the key light and the fill light, for the key light we're using the LA200 by with the umbrella softbox modifier with a diffusion, and for the fill light we're using Godox F400 by, which is hanging using a boom rod. For the special textures and the indents, we are using tube lights. Now these are the TP2R lights from Godox. These allow us to create those special textures in areas which are usually dark in the video to create that special mood and special lighting as well. And to create an outdoor light effect on the wall, we are using the ML100 by with a BLP modifier. Now this modifier comes with a gobo, and it actually allows us to create multiple kind of textures using the different cutouts that we get with it. All these lights put together create a mood for your setup. Now this setup is mainly a COB setup with some panels and tubes used for special effects. You can create different kind of moods using the same setup as well. Let's turn off these lights and see what kind of moods we can create. Now let's create a moody setup. So we already have a top light where we are using a panel. You can also achieve this setup using a lantern diffuser with a skirt on it. Let's turn it on. So now this is a more top light focus, which is you can see creating some shadows around the subjects and some shadows around their necks. But this is for those intimate conversations that you can have in your podcast. But a podcast really looks empty if you don't have the practicals which are visible in your frame turned on. Let's turn those on. Now with the practicals turned on, you can see that there is a layer that has been added to the same moody setup, and you know, there is a mood that is created which makes them feel that they're inside a room which is more natural. Now for the darker areas, I personally prefer to add an indent light which gives it another layer and removes all that noise that comes in the darker areas. So this is that one single top key light setup which is moody, has some layers and creates that very intimate space. So in this setup over here, we can see that we've only turned on the practical light, which is the room ambience, as we can say. In this particular setup, I'm not going to use a top light but turn on my key lights only. So the key lights actually light my subject and some part of the background as well. But still, you can see there are darker areas in the set, and I'm going to turn on my indent lights, which are, kind of motivated lights which could be falling from outside or from any other lamp nearby, and we can create that texture in the shadow areas of the setup. This kind of gives it a layer, a depth, but there is something missing. There is no mood in this setup because it's kind of, well lit overall. So we add a layer using a motivated light coming from a window, and we are creating this light using a projector mount called BLP with a gobo of a window. And as you can see that there is more texture added to this set, and it is now more moody, and you can feel that the whole setup is come up alive without actually a fill light there. Just to show you a difference what the fill light would create in this kind of a setup, as you can see it's more lit up, more bright, the shadows using panel lights. As my key lights, I have the LDX 100 by and the LDX 50 by. As my hair light or the top fill light, I have the F400 by. पीछे मेरे प्रैक्टिकल लाइट्स में यूज हो रहे हैं C7R बल्ब्स, इधर है R1 एंड उस लैंप के अंदर भी R1 यूज हो रहा है, एंड ऑफ कोर्स पीछे से एक ट्यूब दी है टू क्रिएट दैट एम्बिएंट मोटिवेटेड लाइटिंग टेक्सचर. पैनल लाइट्स के साथ मेरे को एक बेनिफिट मिलता है, देयर ऑलरेडी सॉफ्ट, आई डोंट हैव टू यूज टू मेनी मॉडिफायर्स एंड आई गेट अ लार्जर स्प्रेड, एंड ऑफ कोर्स यूजिंग द बार्न डोर्स आई कैन शेप देम एंड आल्सो कट लाइट वेरेवर आई वांट. और इसी सेटअप को मैं अलग अलग तरीके से ट्रीट कर सकता हूं. आई कैन आल्सो क्रिएट अ वेरी मूडी सेटअप. पैनल लाइटिंग सॉल्यूशंस के साथ मेरे को एक और बहुत बड़ा benefit मिलता है, that I can run them on batteries. Some of them use a V-mount solution and others run on NP batteries. So in situations where you don't have light sources, you can always run on batteries, and that also acts as a power backup. Let's see how that works. So starting with the practical light, we see that there are lamps in the background which are casting light on the background on the wall. So we've used two portable lights, one in the drawer on the left bottom and one in the rack on the right, which is a reference of what the main light is. Now I'm going to add a tube light from the back, which will again add more to the wall. Adding another practical light, which is a bulb on the side inside a lamp itself, and then adding a texture from the left will create more depth and more layer. Now I'm adding a hair light, which is an overall lit. So this is only with the top light hair light. So this could be a setup where it is a little bit moody. There are some shadows falling on their faces, and it's more topish light kind of a setup. But if I want to add key lights, that will give me more, light on the subject. That's one, and that is two. So now both my subjects are lit up. There is a hair light atop which is acting as a fill light as well, and then there are practical lights which are adding value to the whole thing. The key light and the hair light are panel lights. Rest are tubes, bulbs, and portable lights. For a third setup, we have created a conventional table style podcast setup. इसमें हमने add करे हैं portable lights in the practical fixtures like the lamp and the rack on the back. फिर हमने add किया है blue and magenta color on the wall using the tubes. Then for the main key light, we have used the amazing LA300R with a lantern modifier that gives it a very smooth top lighting. And finally, for the fill light, we have used the LDX series soft panels. Now these give a very nice soft touch to the overall characters in the set. Here is the final result. This is how we were able to give a professional look to our video podcasts using the Godox range of lights. Well, Godox में बहुत सारी variety of lights हैं. Choose the lights that fit your needs and you will get the desired results. We're coming up with more such videos, so until next time, ciao.